Welcome back. In the last session, I talked about what exactly is a will. Right now, I want to maybe expand a little bit more and talk about why a will is important. I've covered little bits already, but I'm just going to recap and expand just for your own purposes, really, because it is really important to understand the benefits of having a will. Now, first and foremost, what I said this before is having a will gives you full control, and it allows your loved ones to be able to benefit fully from your wishes and your stipulations. If one dies without a will, and I'm going to use, for example, Joe Bloggs or Mary Bloggs, then they will have what is called a government will. Ultimately, that situation is dying intestate, okay? Now, there's only one government will, and it's effectively one glove fits all. Now, you and I both know that everyone's situation is different, okay? There's people who are married, there's people who are in long-term relationships, there's those who are single, those who are older in their years, those who are younger in their years, etc. So you need to have a plan, all right? That is why a will is important. So someone who has a will and unfortunately passes away, so if Joe Bloggs or Mary Bloggs passes away and has a will in place, then they're known as being testate and having a will. So therefore, the government will treat Joe Bloggs and Mary Bloggs differently compared to the situation if when Joe Bloggs and Mary Bloggs passed away without a will, all right? Number one, if you pass away without a will, i.e. you die intestate, then it's a very long process, okay? It's called probate. It has to happen anyway for most situations. However, what happens is the government assigns someone to administrate that person's affairs. That process can take many, many months. Now, the situation is if a loved one has passed away, let's say they have family members, let's say that they had a bank account just in their name and they paid all the bills, and unfortunately, Mary Bloggs cannot access the bank account, Mary Bloggs can't pay the mortgage, Mary Bloggs can't pay any bills, and she now has to figure out a way to survive and to determine an income because no plan was put into place. All right, that's just one example of 100, okay? That's a situation where you're waiting for a third party to decide what happens, and that can take months. There's been situations where people have lost their homes because of those scenarios, okay? And it could have been prevented. That's just one example. So I'm trying to stress the point without scaring anybody. If you just take the time to sit down, review what you want, because everyone has a different stage of life. So I don't care if you're 18 or 80, review what it is you want. Everyone's situation is going to be different. At least get it down on paper, sit down with a professional, okay, who can help you go through that in line with what is already happening with the law, okay? So you get the best advantage going forward. At least that way it gives you the peace of mind, and you know that if anything was to happen, i.e. if the Mary Bloggs or Joe Bloggs was to pass away with a will, that probate situation is super quick compared to not having one, but put it that way, okay? It allows your loved ones to get on with their life quickly, to grieve peacefully without the stress and the torment of wondering how they're going to get along and how things are going to move forward. So ultimately, why you must have a will, as I said before, you do need to have control without allowing third parties, i.e. the government, to have control over your life, over your loved ones' lives, over your children's lives, etc. All right? So I'm not going to go on for too much because I can talk for England, but ultimately that's the reason why you must have a will. See you in the next session.